Hi folks, Ron here. Well, it's November the 1st. This is my report. Well, how did Halloween go for you guys? We were short about 30 people. We only got about 70 of the expected 100 or so. But anyway, let me know in the comments how you did. I wanted to share with you a conversation I had with, I'm going to call the gentleman Fudd. Fudd is from Iran. And that's not his real name, of course, because as I convey this to you, you'll understand a little bit better. Now, Fudd has been in Calgary for 3 years now. Now, he left Iran to come to Calgary, and he's living and working here now. His family's in Iran, but he is very nervous. He was very nervous when he left Iran. He was very concerned about the security forces that were coming to visit him. And he shared with me that he's very, very concerned about returning to Iran for that very same reason. He's not sure about the security forces. Well, needless to say, we started to get into the whole picture on the Middle East. And we didn't get into too much about many of the details of what's going on in Gaza right now or that sort of thing. We both agreed that it's a terrible, terrible situation. But also, we decided that the Ayatollahs were behind Hamas, and we agreed on that. And that it's been a failure on the part of the Ayatollahs. They're desperately trying to start a war in the Middle East. They need somebody to attack them because, as Fudd said, the Iranian people are just really, really, really fed up with these guys. And it turns out this second young lady, her name's Garvind passed away. She was in a coma for months. She just passed away. And it's not in the mainstream news yet. But the people in Iran know about it, and they're on the streets again. They are just furious with this government and the morality police. Now, we were talking about possible solutions and this sort of thing, and I said, so, if the Iranian people overthrow the Ayatollahs, what happens? Everybody talks about, just throw them out, kind of thing. But what happens? And he says, oh my. He says there's a number of things. Could be a military coup and a military dictatorship. That's one. There could be a civil war. There's different factions inside of Iran. There could be a civil war there. Or there could be just absolute chaos and a collapse of all of everything going on. Because the Ayatollahs control everything. The secret police, the normal police, the military, all the capital and everything else. And without them, they got the keys to everything. And without the keys, you can't run the place. So he says that really holds the Ayatollahs in place. Interestingly enough. You want to get rid of them, but you really can't get rid of them because the alternative is very, very messy. So I said, well, why don't we look at a different kind of approach? And he says, well, what would that mean? I says, what if we started putting together now in the international community an administration from 3 different countries, one administration that would provide administrative guidance for Iran over the course of their transmission or transition from the Ayatollahs to whatever form of governance they end up with. And he says, really? I says, yeah. We could take 3 countries picked out of the UN who have experience and knowledge about this sort of thing and start them off now speaking with Iranians about how they would want the new government to look, the new Iran to look like. What would a modern post-Ayatollah Iran look like in the world? And he said, that could be pretty cool because there's all sorts of possibilities. I said, sure. You could take and have bring the peacock throne back from the old Shah of Iran, make them a token one this time instead of active. That didn't work out well. But that would then mean that you would have a constitutional monarchy, for example. Or you could develop a republic. Or you could variation thereof. So he says, that sounds pretty interesting. He says it also gives the Iranian people hope. It means that there isn't a dead end. It's not a chaos or the Ayatollah situation. But it gives them an opportunity for a transition period. It might be 24 months, it might be 48, it might be 60 months, who knows. However long it takes to develop a judicial system, an electoral system, a governance system, a system of capital markets, central bank maybe. Maybe they want that, or maybe they want it under the Shira law system, Shira financing. That's different from our North American version. You can have all sorts of different things happening. So it'd be pretty cool. And then we went on to discuss, what 3 countries? Well, we quickly went through a list of countries that don't want involved, starting with the United States. No way, thank you. U.S., you're wonderful, but out. And then we talked about the other countries like China, forget it, and that sort of thing. He says, but Iran would be very amenable to a country like Japan or Germany. Both those countries have gone through exactly what we're talking about here that Iran would be going through. And they have practical experience. They know what it's like for bringing their people forward into the first world and different governance systems. And they would have a lot to offer. So there's 2 countries right off the bat that could offer great insight and great guidance. They have no baggage. They're not sticking around in Iran. So there's 2. And so he said, that'd be really good. He says, and I said, so what about a 3rd one? He says, well, we need Canada. I said, Canada? Have you seen our government? I said, well, I don't know. Maybe we should think that one through again. He says, no. He says, Canada has a culture of openness. It has a culture where people from around the world want to be here. We have, with all the flaws that we have, and what they call the immigrants call the fakeness of Canadians. We're fake because we won't tell other people the truth because we're too afraid we might offend them. The woke thing, the immigrants call us fake. And so, anyway, he says Canada should be involved. Maybe we've got an ex-prime minister that we could send over, maybe a Brian Mulroney or, I don't know, Kim Campbell, somebody. Kim Campbell would be kind of cool. That could help with the administration of this. And we could provide even retired Supreme Court justices to speak to the legal system that they want to develop. And of course, there would be lots of things that would have to be discussed. For example, do you fire the military? Well, I say no, you don't. That mistake was made in Iraq. So what you do is you keep the military, but you reform it. There's some of the real bad apples in there, and you get rid of them. But the military will be required for rebuilding and civil projects and everything else that's going to go on, and to also keep law and order. There's no question about it. The police will have to be reformed. The whole idea of corruption within Iran will have to be addressed. That's going to be a tough one. But that's where the legal system has to come in. And you have to get the people on board. And they will decide what they want. And it'll be their call. And if it's their call, then they're going to do it. At least we think so. At least it would give Iran an opportunity to take its place, 1 foot in Asia, 1 foot in Europe, and to be the big stable force in the Middle East. That stability is what is needed. And if they're stable, if they're part of the First World Order, if they're part of the world economic system, they can do great things. They're fabulous people. And it could be a wonderful future for not just the Iranians or Persians, but for the Middle East going forward. Anyway, tell me what you think. I don't know. Your thoughts would be welcome. Tell me in the comments. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.